There. Let's talk about enabling and honesty and being truthful with one another. And let's talk about what lying is and what being fake is and how to not be real or be inauthentic for the reason of politeness. Tough to say that word, apparently. Maybe I'm not very polite. You be sure that if I am respectful, it is due respect. It is a politeness, a genuine expression of love and gratitude and an honoring that comes straight from the heart in a completely authentic manner. It's definitely not something that happens due to having to happen or for social niceties or anything of this nature. That would be very silly. That wouldn't make any sense to me. I'll say fuck you and whatever it is that I need to in any moment that I happen to need to, but I'll also tell you I love you and be extremely humble and kind and sweet. And I'll hold space and listen and be there gently with you, caressing you, loving you, and giving you the greatest love that you've ever felt. I can do all these things. And maybe this is a boisterous thing. It's like, oh, but I felt the greatest love, and I'm not trying to compare or compete. That's not what I mean to do. I just mean that I am so sweet. And I can also be very fierce and harsh and all kinds of different things. It's wonderful. It's this amazing amount of honesty and being every way that a human can possibly be as one being. It's wonderful. I don't just stick to this identity or for this identity or this identity. I can be anything. I'm versatile in that way. But let's speak about what enabling is. Since we started out on this course, something that has came up to me, and whenever I start to speak in a way in my mind that seems as if I'm speaking to others, I'm just going to turn on the video and start speaking to you, because that's really where it wants to go. It doesn't want to go to me. I already know these things already. I've figured these things out. I'm constantly re-empowering myself in all these different ways into alignment with truth every day whenever I see whatever's going on. When I think about, well, I could just lie to this person. I could just tell them that they're wonderful and they're great and they're gorgeous and they're grand and that everything they're doing is on point. But I could also provide friction. I could also provide friction, not because I'm meaning to, not because I'm looking at them thinking, let me see, how can I friction their life up? How can I agitate this person? How can I rile their goose? How can I mess their goat? Whatever I'm saying. How can I get them feeling awkward and uncomfortable? No, that's not ever what I'm trying to do, actually. I just want to be honestly helpful and benefit. And sometimes I notice things in others because I've noticed things within myself. I can see how things flow. I can see the energetic expression in a being based on their posturing, based on anything that's occurring, the way that they speak, the way that they move. I can see in their facial expression what their intention is on what it is they're doing in their action and how it is they're focused on others and how they are focused on others perceiving them versus like a genuine being with themselves. I mean, we can all see this when somebody's dancing on the dance floor and they're dancing and they're completely alone, free to themselves. You can see the freedom in it. They're not worried about anything else around them. And then we can see the other person that's dancing. He's dancing very well, but he's also looking out of the corner of his eye like, oh, are you looking at me? Are you seeing me? I'm doing a show for you. We can see this too. And we can always tell the difference. And some people may not be able to tell the difference. They may be disconnected with this part of themselves, this clairsentience or however it is. To be best related in the English language, to say what it is to be connected with their intuitive guidance, and also just a level of intelligence, of logic, something that can be observed very easily, very quickly through just the eyes. Maybe you would have to have been a person that was wallflower style, that really observed actions of others and really use these to compare to actions of yourself and see why people were doing this, that, and the other thing to actually be able to interpret this later on in life. I happen to be a professional of this. You could say I have a doctorate or even more so in these kinds of fields and degrees. A lot of people have studied other things. I've studied these things I talk about now, and I'm very, very here close to mastering this. Turns out, though, it's quite the vast field that I happen to be a part of, so mastery to one may not be mastery to another. I may be a master to some, but then, what do you know? Here comes a master along, and he has a lot to teach me, or she has a lot to teach me. I don't know. I never do meet any masters in my particular field that are actually balanced in the manner that I'm balanced to be able to wish to teach in that kind of a way. But that's okay. Not a big deal. I guess I wouldn't take upon myself an arrogant student. Maybe I am that. Who knows for sure? I have humbled myself in amazing ways to people that were my teacher, but were not like my teacher, but I thought maybe they could be, so, I would humble myself in a big way. You'd have to show me wisdom, and I do recognize wisdom, so it's not like you would have to do a great showing of wisdom. You just simply be your natural self, and I'll notice it. Pretty good at that. Quite the ability to do so. I just got out of the ocean, so my hair's all crazy. Anyways, so let's talk about enabling people. Why are we enabling people? Do you think that God enables people? This is something that had come up earlier, so I bring it up now. Do you think that God enables people? Like, imagine this. Imagine you just want to be a good spiritual friend, and you're like, I just want to make everybody feel good all the time and feel happy about themselves. But this person is like touching children or something, and you're like, well, you're the greatest. Yeah, here we go. No, if they're doing something weird like that, you got to tell them, don't do this. You say, no, that's not what you're supposed to do. That's wrong. That's not okay. And maybe if somebody does this because I've said something so harsh and so dramatic, you would actually want to kill them or beat them or whatever. You would make them stop in another way. You call the police on them, you put them in jail, or you do something like this. I don't know. But you would do anything to get them to stop doing this thing. You would. This is not something that you would say, no, this is, you're not enabled this. You would not want to just be like very polite, like, oh yes, it's okay. But some people probably do this. They hear that somebody is a rapist, and they know that this person has raped people, and every time they see this person, instead of being like, no, this was wrong, you should not have done this, they are afraid or whatever it is, but they're still being polite, and they're like, very, very good to see you, sir. Very good, very good. Yes. Have a beautiful day. Very good to see you. I love you. You're the best in the world. And I'm not saying that, you have to say something to everybody in the world. I mean, maybe there is a danger. Follow your intuition. I don't want you to be in a dangerous scenario that puts you in harm's way. But maybe there's something that we can do that isn't, constantly enabling people. We could put the word out. We could stand together. We could be like, hey, this person's causing harm in the community. We got to do something about this guy causing harm because he's just causing harm to himself and to others, and we're trying to protect our friends. And we could always, take the other complacent side of, this is simply their karmas. This is something that I actually personally take a lot of the time. Is, they're doing their thing. It's not for me to really get involved. I could get involved, but, it wouldn't really work out very well. And typically it would not work very, very well, so, you could use your intelligence. My hair looks funny right now. But you can use your intelligence and find out, whether it's going to work out or not. Me being personally a lone wolf, not really having anybody that have my back ever, me being so unspoken, and people usually not siding with me very much, it's like, I don't really want to go around fighting and everybody. If I were to be a vigilante, I'd have to take them all down. But there's other ways to not enable their energy, ways to just send energy, all kinds of different things. But what I really meant to speak on was maybe not such a dramatic notion. Maybe we could start in baby steps. That would be great. That's what I'm doing personally right now. Maybe when I become much stronger, I'll take on the harder things and see what's going on with those. But until then, let's talk about the baby steps. So, there are things that we see in one another that are discomforting. There are energies that are overbearing. We're like, okay, this guy is like being a little messed up towards me. Or this guy is kind of being a little, this way and that way. And it's actually safe for you to tell this person about your feeling, but instead you don't. Because you're like, no, I don't want him to know, And so maybe for his whole life you see him doing something not very good, and you never tell him. And the way that I was thinking about this was, if it was God, like imagine God, and whatever you think of as God, we're just using the figure, the symbology of a God, of some figure that we could even personify or whatever it is, and maybe just a voice of the all that is that just comes out of nowhere and directs somebody somehow. And it sees somebody and it's like, oh, yes, this person is doing wrong, but I'm going to be nice to this person and just build this person up. Oh, you're doing the best, you're doing wonderful, you just keep on doing what you're doing, you got it, there you go, you're going to be the best forever. And now this person has heard it from a high source that he believes, and he's like, I'm doing everything right. So anytime he wants to change himself, he's like, whoa. Why would I change? I'm doing everything right. And now, for 60 years, for 80 years, for 120 years, this person has done everything, assuming that he was doing everything right. And then he gets to the pearly gates or wherever it is, and then it turns out he gets like, hey, this whole time you've been fucking up. And now it's Judgment Day, and it turns out you were hurting people the whole time, you know. So sorry, I thought you were going to get it on your own. I could have told you, but I didn't want to hurt your feelings, so I just told you you're doing great, you know. I kind of feel like this is kind of my responsibility too, because I did tell you you were doing the right thing, so you were listening to God when I said that, you know. And you know, some people really take other people's opinions in high regard, you know. If somebody tells you you're doing the best bang-up job, you're going to be like, wow, I'm doing the best the bang-up job. It's like, oh yeah, now they feel very good about themselves, they feel very good about you because you've given them a compliment, and that's nice, that's nice. So it's like, yeah, man, every time, you know, I have a lot of friends because I'm nice to everybody, and I don't really help them very much. I see them stumbling all the time, but I remain kind to them, which helps me because they really love me. I have a lot of friends. They'll help me in any moment, you know, they're my good friends. And on top of that, you know, they're all stumbling into holes that I could tell them about. But I see these holes, you know, I just don't want to tell them because I don't want to hurt their feelings, whether we're not friends anymore. I'd rather them just feel good about themselves. Even though they're doing wrong, I would rather them just feel good. Yeah, that guy's killing people all the time, but hey, who am I to judge, you know? I just want him to feel good about it. Don't want him to feel awful about it. I don't want him to know that I think, friend, you know, you shouldn't do that. You know, that's hurting other beings, and it's also hurting yourself. And you know, I could give you all this wisdom that relates to it to show you, you know, how this is going to reflect karmically on you in some kind of a manner, shape, or form. How this is here as a mirror, you know, showing you how you are hurting yourself, and this is not going to work out for you in the future. You see, Padmasambhava or any of these amazing wisdom teachers, they would have told you this. You know, they'd have been like, oh wow, you know, when you kill other beings, this is what is in store for you for doing this. You know, you'll have this. It's going to be awful. You know, it's going to be very difficult for you. You know, there's going to be a hell realm. You know, hurting sentient beings is not the way. You know, we wish to be kind to all sentient beings. You know, to relieve suffering for all sentient beings, and in this way we can become free from the suffering of our own mind. And in the other way, we get led into deeper suffering, and so you can see where this is not good. And so, you know, I have a friend, you know, recently, it's like I've told him many times in the past and about the way that I've seen his expression, the ways that he does things, very manipulating, very controlling, very egoic, very God minds, you know. And he does a lot of things copying me. He does things that he's seen me do, because he's seen me very powerful expressions, and he wants to be like me in some way, which is beautiful. That's nice. That's sweet. Could be flattering, you know. Mockery is flattering, or somebody imitation, or whatever that is. Highest form of flattery. That's nice. But I'm not here to be flattered. I'm not really worried about this. I really just see him trying to do the things that I do, but he's doing them improperly. He doesn't really understand what it is that I do. He hasn't come to these teachings within himself. They haven't come up authentically within himself. And I guess this is where, you know, people tell you, you know, you want to really go from the beginning. You want to go to the teacher. Please do not try this on your own, kind of a thing. And maybe that's why I haven't really brought you into high energy teachings for a different high energy practice. I would like to show you different practices, but I don't want you to really try them and become mistaken and mess yourself up in some kind of a way. So I could just tell you the other things about perfection, about intention, about going into medicine ceremony on your own and finding out for yourself. Connecting to your breath is fine. I can tell you to connect to your breath. I can tell you all these things. And these things are helpful. It's beneficial. Deep breathing. Breathing into the stomach, deep into the dantian, and then the lower dantian in between the sphincter in your balls, or the sphincter in your vaginal entrance, or however it is, you know, your vulva, your uterus, I don't know, it's something. And so, you know, in that space, the lower dantian, you can breathe into that and breathe into your other dantian as well, you know, moving back and forth between the two. Just learning how to follow the breath, and finally feeling the breath enough to where you can see the breath is guiding you to not only those two spaces, but any part of the body, outside of the body. You can breathe into that gentleman over there. You can breathe wherever you wish, and you can find the breath in these ways, and through surrender to the breath, through a releasing of the hard focus of the mind, and letting it become an observer of the heart. This is an amazing way to learn and grow, that's for sure. Medicine ceremony will lead you where you need to go. and through meditation and through prayer. You know, all these things are amazing things that will bring you where you need to go as well. These are points in my path that I had taken myself. I'm really interested in the way my hair looks right now. It's so funny. It's all parted in a cool way. Anyways, though, so it's not very honest. You know, we all the time see things inside of our friends and we're like, but we don't like to say them. I know that people see this in me a lot, and they don't say them. Maybe that's the only reason why I press their buttons, so they will be honest with me, and they just won't be honest. Who knows? They're like, no, it doesn't bother me at all. Like, whoa, yeah, it's kind of probably pretty bothering. But okay, I guess maybe not. Maybe I'm just super sensitive. Things bother me pretty quickly sometimes. But I say so, you know, I'm pretty good at that. Don't really keep a lot in. I'm not a suppressor, I'm an expressor. I love expression. I think it's the most amazing thing. Authentic expression. It can be difficult. You don't have a lot of friends. You feel very lonely. But it's a wonderful thing. And not always do you feel lonely. I only feel lonely when I'm like not sure what I'm doing in my life. But you know, whenever I'm making my videos, I'm making decisions, I'm not afraid of lack, then I feel great. You know, when I get afraid of lack and thus out of trust and not sure what I'm doing, then I feel kind of agitated, I feel not very comfortable, all these things. And so, you know, there comes the dilemma for me, you know, do I tell my buddy what it is that I'm seeing in him and then disturb him? We just became friends again, but I know that it's going to disturb him. He's not going to take it very well. Maybe he takes it differently than ever before, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to do my best to say it in a very kind and very gentle way, in a way that brings harmony, that he can understand that I'm not attacking him. But either way, typically when you point out somebody's ego, it seems like an attack. They get kind of triggered, they become defensive, they take things personally, they become embarrassed or shy, whatever it is, because they're not trying to look at this thing within themselves and they don't not necessarily agree with it. And then there's the other problem of this particular individual has also used information when I've come to them in this way and not looked at themselves, but instead taken the information that I've given them that was a key to helping them and used it for their own ego's gain again, and just selfishly taken it upon themselves in a way that's like, oh my goodness, now you're even farther lost in the hole. Now this is a scary thing. It's like, oh no, what do I do with this person? You know, so typically what I've done in the past recently is just ignored them, stayed away from them. Now they're coming up to me and they're behind me when I'm doing my flow, and they're doing all these funny things, and I'm like, okay, you know, your vulturous energy is weird, manipulating, controlling, creepy. It is strange. I don't know why it is coming up on me like this, and so please, you know, just stop this. I have to stop doing what I'm doing because for some reason I'm like completely present with the ocean and with the motion of the waves and everything around me, and then I find this person standing directly behind me doing odd motions that are not really whatever they're doing. I don't know. They're like trying to take in my energy or something. I don't know. It's very strange to me. And so I'm, I feel the need to talk to this person about it because it is disturbing me in some way. And so, other people get disturbed by people and they never tell them. They're like, no, I'm not going to tell them about it. But what is the point of that? What is so helpful there? It's like, maybe you're afraid. I mean, that's okay. I understand. And yeah, don't tell them. I mean, if you're scared, don't tell them. There are some people that I feel if I told them what I thought about them, they might try to kill me. And so, it may be not best to tell them. Not until a time when I'm sure that I'm okay, no matter what, When I come into a place I'm really solidified standing in the centering of myself, then maybe it would be fine for me to go and tell them the deadly information, we'll move from there. A lot of people get very triggered. But, I think it's sad that I have to be one of the only people in the world going around triggering folks with the truth. If we could just all be honest with one another, maybe it would cause the agitation necessary for us to grow. I mean, The universe and consciousness has not been so kind to me. It has been very difficult and has been very direct and blunt with my obscuration. It's like, oh yeah, let me show you this motherfucker. I'm like, oh shoot, oh, and it even gives me opportunities where I only have mere moments to figure it out, or I'm screwed forever. It's like, you better figure it out right now. It's like, oh my god, no, I had to break through myself this quickly, this is ridiculous. You know, it's very scary when you have to do it that fast, you know. It's like one thing when you have like 20 years to figure it out. If you have like 20 seconds, you're like, oh my, I have to transcend this giant block within myself in 20 seconds. Oh my god. It's daunting. Shocking. But you know, if you really care about yourself enough and everything, then you're going to do it. That's kind of the scary, treacherous harshness of my path of very difficult energy upgrades. But I've been able to move through it in a really wonderful way, and I'm super excited and happy that I've been so blessed as to be able to do this in these manners. And yeah, it's been really wonderful. Trying to figure out, you know, what to best say here, you know, enabling people. I just don't know why we enable one another. Like, we notice each other's shortcomings, and we notice that, and we even have the keys for them, but we just don't want to talk about it. We want to be all light and fluffy all the time, all relaxed, like, no, it's going to break my vibe to be serious with you right now. It's like, well, you know, maybe we need it, you know. The people in other countries can't help but be serious. It's tough. They don't get a lot of chance to relax. You know, there's bombs dropping around them. They're dying. They're starving. They have to search through piles of trash for food to feed their children who are starving to death and bloated from that kind of emaciation. And, you know, we got a lot of crazy troubles. Not to make you feel scared or judgmental of yourself, but I mean, maybe some of these things can get you to speed it up just a little more quickly. You know, you have a very wonderful rebirth here happening, to where you've been given such an amazing channel as to be here in this place, at this time, in this way. Very relaxed, yes. But we could be a little serious with one another, like, hey, bro, as it turns out, I think you're a motherfucker. You're kind of an asshole. You're kind of disturbing me. And then you can hear about why they're disturbing you. And then, you know, they're like, well, yeah, well, I defend that. You know, I defend that part of myself. I'm being authentic. And they're like, well, I don't know about it. It's like, well, I don't know about the way you're being. I think your gentleness is being an asshole. And then they're like, oh, well, now you're even more of an asshole. And I'm like, oh, that's all you're repeating is the same statement. I don't even disagree with you about it. Maybe I am an asshole. So what? And they're like, well, you know, it's kind of off-putting. Well, I think your gentleness is off-putting. Well, now we're both off-putting. This is bullshit. How can my gentleness be off-putting? Now you're an asshole too. You see, you're getting upset. Now you're no longer very gentle. You're kind of harsh. And they're like, oh, this is ridiculous. How dare you? You've made me this harshness. No. You are already this harshness back when you were gentle. But you weren't expressing your harshness. You were just acting like I was harsh and judging me. You know, I was just being real and authentic. You're being a fake little gentle asshole. They're like, oh shit, you're a fucking dick face. And I'm like, oh man, come on, stop fucking with me. I love you. They're like, wait a minute here. You can't say you love me while you're being a dick to me. I'm like, I can say whatever I want because I'm real as fuck. I can do whatever I please. They're like, oh, this is ridiculous. How dare you? I don't really love you. I'm just being gentle with you because it's what I feel like I need to do in order to be socially accepting. And I'm like, well, fuck you. I'm like, well, this is not okay. I'm like, I don't care. I don't covet your friendship. I don't care. I'll be truthful with you all day. Well, I was just trying to be honest with you, finally. And it's like, well, this is good. Whatever. I'm being honest with you still. Well, I've been always honest with you. You think that it's going to change just now? You're going to be strong. Be strong. Be a warrior. What are you worried about? What, you're going to be caught up in conversation by somebody where you can't be balanced about it? Look how balanced I am while I tell you you're a fucking dick. They're like, oh my goodness, you're so wicked. You have no heart. I have plenty of heart. What do you mean? You're breaking my heart right now. I feel very sad. I love you. This is a fun skit. We're having a good time. And by we, I mean me and you and myself. And just, you know, whatever. Me and myself. I like it. I'm staring at myself. I'm talking with myself. This is fun. This is a good teaching. Maybe you don't understand it, but that's okay. I'm not really worried about it. It makes me happy. Because I'm insane. You know, I have utter insanity occurring, and I'm not worried about it. It's not a problem. I'm quite balanced in my insanity. You can be sure of that. Look at all my prayer flags. Look, that says balanced, don't they? The 5 Buddha families. Yeah, look at them. They're beautiful. Anyways, I love you. So, why are we enabling people? Why can't we just be honest and truthful? If we are not honest with somebody, then we're liars. You'd rather be liars. You'd rather perpetuate illusion. Lies are illusion. Falsity. You could call the devil lies. You could say that the devil is straight illusion. Maya, illusion, lies, not truths. Have integrity. Be honest with one another. Why not? You're not honest with me, you're not honest with yourself. You're not honest with consciousness, how do you expect consciousness to be honest with you? No wonder you're so confused and you can't tell the truth. You're always lying. Well, do you even tell yourself the truth? How many times are you honest with you? How many times do you say, fuck, Ryan, why did you have to be such a prick right there? Why couldn't you just be gentle? You knew you were wrong. Why did you have to defend yourself when you knew you were wrong? This is ridiculous, Next time, just be honest and be like, you know what, man, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I just wanted to be right. I felt like you were hurting me, and took it personally, and then I just wanted to win, because I felt like you were being an asshole. You didn't understand where I was coming from, and so then I became an even bigger asshole, and I just wanted to fight against you. I just wanted to be right, okay? I just wanted to be right. I'm sorry. I knew I was in the wrong. I just couldn't admit to being wrong. I just didn't want to admit it. Something inside of me was very scared of being wrong, and I didn't want you to know that I'd done wrong to you. I was ashamed of myself. I didn't want to admit that I had done that. I wanted you to not think that I had done that, because I wanted you to love me still. I wanted you to love me forever, and I didn't want you to know that I had been such a stupid asshole, a stupid selfish prick that I don't even know why I did what I did. I just had this feeling come over me, and I just had to do what I did. I didn't do what I did against you, but I knew that you would think it was against you and that it would hurt you, and I care about you, and I didn't want to admit to it, so I made this lie up, and I made this other lie to cover that lie, and then I defended it like crazy, and then when you tried to say that I wasn't telling the truth, I had to act very angry and very mad at you, so that you would believe that I was defending a truth, and that I wasn't lying to you. I did whatever I could to make it seem like I hadn't lied, and that I wasn't wrong, and that I was in the right, and whatever I could, because I cared about your friendship that much. I'm sorry. I know this was not the way. I know that honesty is the best, the highest value. Honesty is highest value. I don't know. Best policy. There we go. I know honesty is the best policy, but I'm sorry. I was too afraid of what you would think of me, to be honest with you. I just wanted you to think of me as a beautiful, amazing person, as you did before. I didn't want this stain on our relationship to occur. I didn't know how to undo what I had done, so I just lied. I just lied and lied some more, and then we argued and argued and argued, and I tried to make you feel like you were wrong, but you were right this whole time. Your intuition was correct, and I'm sorry that I didn't honor you with the truth. I'm sorry that I coveted your friendship and didn't let you know that, yes, you were right. So now you have to distrust your own self and your own opinion, your own intuition, because of my lie. And I'm sorry that I wasn't strong enough to be there for you, that I could just have told you in the beginning, hey, I'm feeling this way, I want to do this thing. And I don't want to hurt you, but for some reason I really want to do this thing, and I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm going to do this thing, whether you want me to do this thing or not, but I still want to be with you, or however it is, whatever it is. I'm thinking about relationships right now in the past and things I could have said. I had to say this in a way that was authentic to myself and my experience, and I have felt this way before. I've done these things before. They always had to do with the relationships if I had ever lied to anybody. Otherwise, there was no reason, or maybe the cops or something, I didn't want to be in trouble, so I didn't tell you the truth, obviously, or whatever it is, and just protecting myself. However it is. Typically, we're protecting ourselves when we lie, right? Or we want to be looked at as some kind of a way, or whatever that is. I wanted you to think greatly of me. I embellished that story because I didn't think the story was good enough, but I wanted to tell a story that people thought was cool, and that they were interested in, so that I was seen as cool, and so that you would like me, and I'm sorry. I didn't think that you would like me if I told you the truthful story. I thought it would be boring. It wasn't as good. even though it did come up and I brought it up, so it was probably good as it was, but I didn't know if it was good as it was, so I added extra just to see, because I was determining based on your facial expressions if you thought it was cool or not, so I added more to see if you'd be like, oh, shock effect or something, you know, who knows. Things that I've done in the past. All kinds of reasons why we may lie, why we may do whatever it is that we do, you know. I was enabling you, like I said, because I didn't want to hurt your feelings. I was being polite. I knew that you were doing the wrong thing, that you were leading yourself into trouble. I knew that that girl wasn't good for you. I knew that she was a liar, but I didn't want to tell you that because I didn't want to lose your friendship. I knew you wouldn't understand, you know. But hey, maybe if we all told you, maybe you would have believed us, you know, and you would have valued that, oh man, I should have listened, you know. You guys were right, you know, you did have my best interest in mind. I just didn't see that at the time. It's okay, brother. It's okay. I understand that you couldn't see. I love you. I understand. No problem. It's okay, sister. I had to be there for you. I'm sorry that I had to tell you those things. I wish that I could have said something else to you, but I just cared about you so much and your safety and your well-being that I couldn't lie to you about this. I had to tell you the truth. I couldn't allow you to be, you know, to have all your friends not tell you that that man was a woman beater. I know you didn't believe me, and then he hit you, and then you found out. But I had to tell you, because, you know, I wish that I could have just stopped him and yelled at him and everything, but I know that you would have defended him. And maybe I did do that, and then I'm sorry that you thought that I was just being harsh and wrong. But I know what his past is. I know what he's still like. I know that he has not changed yet. I know that people can change, but I can tell you right now that he's not done that yet. Because I can see very clearly. Whatever it is, this person right here uses energy work to take over people and hurt people, to manipulate them and control them. He's a charmer. He's practiced his spiel 1,000,000 times. This guy has practiced over and over and over on many, many, many women, so he's got it almost down to where he can trick just about any woman that comes up to him. And unless you have a strong intuition, you're not going to see that he's lying to you, because he's very clever. You know, we could help people like this, you know, and we can tell that person, I can see that you're very clever and that you're doing things in a not good way. But the less that we do this, you know, people see this in people and they never tell them. And maybe this person is completely blind to what they're doing. Maybe it just takes the one right person telling them the truth for them to see. And when it's a male or something like that, that maybe they won't see, or maybe they will see. But the more of us that are more honest and authentic with one another, the more that we can actually see ourselves, and this is a huge blessing in healing. We're afraid so much of agitating one another, of breaking friendships, but it is not about having friendships. It is about awakening consciousness. It is about liberating all beings and freeing us all from suffering, from the illusion and the ignorance of our own minds. And so honesty is the key for this. No longer enabling people. It's not a kindness to enable them. It's not a kindness to be polite in these ways. We can be polite in the way that we tell them the truth. But the truth must come out. And if the politeness dilutes the truth, then it may not be effective. Sometimes you do have to say things in a harsh way, an aggressive way, a loud way, yelling or whatever. I'm not saying that this has to be all the time. I'm not saying all the time go and do this. But sometimes this does have to happen in this way. And it is important that we are utterly authentic with one another. I love you very much with all my heart, and all my soul. And I just have to share this information with you now. Thank you. Aloha. Mahalo. Matakiasi. Yee!